In this video, we are going to talk about ALEKS. Hopefully, by the time you're watching this video, you already have or are about to sign up for ALEKS. You have your class code, which is highlighted, and your financial aid access code. This gives you a 2-week free access to your homework. So you're going to do that first, and then I'm going to do this video is going to be explaining what happens once you're registered for ALEKS. So once you're registered, you're going to see a screen like this. It's going to kind of go through just a tutorial on how to use ALEKS and how to enter information. Okay, so here's just telling you, how you're going to learn at your own pace, and understand the topics you already know. Okay, so you're going to be as soon as you learn something, you're going to have access to more information. You learn some more, you're going to have access to more, and so forth until you get to your final goal. Okay, here it's just going to give you an overview. Here's where your main menu is, and so forth, notifications, and so forth. Okay, so we're going to kind of just go through this briefly, and we're going to go ahead and get started with the tutorial. Okay, you really need to go ahead and go through this tutorial. It's going to give you basic information on how to enter information and then undo information. Just go through the entire thing. I'm not going to go through the entire thing right now. I'm going to go ahead and skip because you're just going to follow the directions it gives you. It's going to give you additional information here as well, just drawing lines and so forth. Okay. Again, I'm going to skip this tutorial. You will need to complete it. Once you complete it, it's going to tell you congratulations, you've completed the tools tutorial. The very next thing that it's going to give you is an initial knowledge check. Okay, when you're doing this initial knowledge check, it's going to be really important that you give it the best try that you can. I do encourage you going back to your lessons tab here, and this is if you really, really want to understand the concepts. I would use, go to Unit 6. I'm going to keep this one in here, but it's going to be slightly different. This is going to be our comprehensive. Let me see where it's at here. Hold on. Okay, it's not in this section yet. When you come in here, you're going to have access to your final reference sheet, and I'm going to put that in Unit 6. It should have already been there, but I will upload a final reference sheet here. So the final reference sheet is going to give you all the formulas and the things that you should know by the end of the class. You can use that information and your standard calculator. Okay, I wouldn't use any other software to help you solve these problems, just because I want to make sure that you know how to solve them. Okay, the better you do, the more information you're going to know, the less homework you're going to have. So don't use a website that will just give you the answer. That's going to be counterproductive. You're not going to be prepared for when it comes to your test. So give it the best shot you can. Don't just fly by it either if you really want to do good. Another thing you need to know is that occasionally when you're going through this homework, you will have additional knowledge checks. Those are random. That's not selected by me. Although I will try and limit how many knowledge checks you can get, because I want to make sure that, because we're testing so often, I really don't think we'll need that. So if I can limit it, I will try my hardest. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and do this knowledge check. It's about 30 questions, and it's going to give you some information, how to stay focused, don't just get distracted, and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and go through this real quick. There's 171 topics, I believe, that we're going to cover throughout this class. Okay, so it is a lot of information. They are going to ask you some major topics, which will cover multiple of those topics. So they'll ask you questions that cover multiple topics, and if you know that, then you probably know all the other minor topics that lead up to that one. So if you don't have a calculator, go ahead and use the one that appears in ALEKS. Otherwise, use a standard scientific calculator. You're not going to be using a graphing calculator or any other calculator like that. Make sure it's a standard scientific calculator. Part of your homework assignment or for your test, you're going to upload a picture of your calculator that you plan to use, and then I will either approve it or not approve it. okay? If you don't know the answer, just push the I don't know button here at the bottom. But like I said, try not to do that for all of them, because that will be, that will just say, okay, you're starting from scratch, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and start the knowledge check, just so you can kind of see the types of questions. So here it's asking about geometric sequence. You may or may not remember this from college algebra, and it's okay if you don't remember it. I'm going to skip this because this will take about an hour. Like I said, it's about 30 questions. I'm going to skip the knowledge check, and I'm going to assume I have a moderate knowledge of PreCalculus. Okay, so you don't have that option, of course. I'm just doing it so that way you can see what happens when we get done. Once you finish your knowledge check, it's going to say, hey, all of the shaded parts that you see here are things that you already know. So you may not know information in this part of the pie, but you do know all the information in yellow. The yellow, of course, is going to be the equations and inequalities. Okay, so it's giving you a breakdown of what you know and then what you don't know. So you know 24 out of 171 topics. That's only 14% of this class. So everything else we're going to cover in the class, but those 24 lessons you're not going to have to do homework on unless you take another knowledge check or test where it says, oh yeah, you don't know this concept. So it is possible to lose those pieces as you go throughout the course. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and continue here. All right, here it's just going to tell you, okay, here's your personal pie. This is what you're going to need to do next when you get here, and then some more information. You have mastered 2, you've learned 0 because you already knew it, and you don't have any remaining. So then you can go ahead and continue. Okay, so that's basically what this is showing you, and then it's telling you what your goal is going to be for the next section.
Let's go ahead and start the path. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this section here. I've actually done a little bit of the homework already, but every time you come into ALEKS, it will say start your path, and it'll pick up from where you left off. So up here, if you click this little down tab, it'll show you the topics that you have left in this section. So if you notice up here, and if I scroll up, it says ready to learn. You have 45 topics that you can actually learn. And as you can see, 4.1, I've actually completed it to 100%. Once you finish the section, it will automatically open the next section. So if I look at 4.2, you can see that you have 4 topics out of 8 that you're ready to learn. So that's how this works. If you notice, once you get down to Unit 1, it will open all of the topics that you have not completed yet. This is where you have that last chance to kind of like learn the information before you take your exam. Okay, so that's all here. Let me just go to 4.2, and I'm going to show you. If you notice these little diamonds, those are your goal topics. Okay, so your goal topics are the ones you actually get credit for. Some of these topics are not going to be your goal topics, they'll be prerequisite topics. So when you take your initial knowledge check and you don't get something correct, it will know that you need a refresher on certain topics. So those are what your prerequisite topics are for. So you won't get credit for it, but you need to know it before you get to the next section. So occasionally you will also see a little lock on some of these. I don't have any of them here because I need only 4 more topics to learn. But if it has a little lock, those are the ones you cannot complete until you've done the ones that are unlocked. So you need to make sure to do the ones that are unlocked first. You do have the information here. If you go down, it'll teach you the information. You can, if you prefer to learn it through ALEKS, you are more than welcome to do so. I've done all the homework on ALEKS before. Some of it can be a little bit confusing, which is why I show you an alternate way during the lectures. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start this assignment. Okay, so here you'll see that it's saying suppose that theta is in the standard position and whose terminal intersects. So it's giving you part of the questions. If you notice that these bars up here, there's 5, and this is a get one right, you earn a point. Get another one right, 2 in a row, you get 2 points. And then get another one right, you get 2 more points. So the minimum number of times that you need to do these is going to be 3. But if you get it wrong, it's going to take it away. So for example, here it says find the exact values of sine. So if I'm looking here, I'm going to go ahead and say, well, sine is going to be negative 60 divided by 61. Cotangent is going to be negative 11 over 60. And then secant is going to be 61 over 11. Now, if we check it, you see that I got it correct. I got 1 point. It says keep on going. So let's go ahead and get another one. Here's another question, and it's the same thing, a little bit different. It says cosine. Well, cosine is going to be 2/5. Tangent, it's going to be the square root of 21 divided by 2. And secant is going to be 5/2. So we're going to check it. You see I got it correct. That gave me 2 points. Now, on the next one, I'm going to go ahead and get it wrong. I'm going to go ahead and say cosine, I'm going to say is 1. Secant or cosecant, I'm going to say is 2. Tangent, I'm going to go ahead and say is 5. I don't know what these answers are. And when I check it, you will see that it says all of your answers here are incorrect, and it took away 1 point. That means that I'll have to continue working on it, at least get 2 more right, because the first one will give me 1 point for getting it right, and then the second one will give me another point. So let's go ahead and fix this. So once you get them all correct, then you're done with this problem. So try and be very careful when you're entering the work, so that way you don't have to do it as many times over and over again. Then go ahead and continue. It'll go ahead and give you the next topic. It says, there you go, keep up the good work, and you can either continue your path or return to your home page. So it'll just give you the next section that you need to go through. Let's say you're done with the unit and you're ready to review. So what you're going to be doing is hitting these 3 little tabs here and going to the review section. The review section will actually show you everything that you've already mastered. But we don't want all of them, because some of these things are actually not on our first unit exam, because remember, it tells you, hey, this is everything that you have learned in the entire semester. We don't need to study all these topics in the entire semester yet. So what we're going to do is go ahead and click this arrow and say, okay, I want to learn everything in Unit 1, since Unit 1 is what we're taking our first exam for. So if you hit on that section, it will give you everything that you've learned in Unit 1. Notice that there's only 20 topics listed because I've only completed 20 topics. If I want to complete the other ones, I need to go back and complete the homework for that unit first. That's why I reopen the homework, so you have that opportunity to go ahead and try and learn that material before you take the exam.
Your exams will come exactly from your homework problems. Okay, so that's how you get to navigate through that. All right. When you're doing your assignments or when you're doing your test, you're going to go to your assignment tab. When you click on your assignment tab, it's going to go ahead and you can view upcoming. It's going to go ahead and list all of your exams here. The very first one that you're going to see is going to be your mock exam. Okay, it does say an hour and a half. It's not going to take you an hour and a half, but I do want you to go through the process. I want to make sure that that you have to set up the technology that you need. You need a camera, you need a mic. You're going to take a 360 view of your desktop. You're going to show the front and back of any formula sheets that you're using. You're just going to go through the process and showing your calculator, go through the process of taking a test to make sure everything's set up and know what to expect, okay? Once you do take your exam, you're going to go back to your assignments. Underneath the assignment says exam scratch work. That's where you're going to submit your scratch work paper, because I do grade using partial credit, okay? So you're going to go to the correct, and I have these opening on the day that starts. So you can go to Unit 1 and you're going to submit your scratch paper there. If you don't have your scratch work submitted, then I'm not going to take that into account. And whatever you got on ALEKS is what you'll in the grade book for Blackboard. Okay, so please submit your scratch work as soon as possible. All right, let's go back here. Let me see what else we have. If you go down to worksheets, you do not need to submit these. Sometimes I have students who will download them, work them, and submit them to me. That's not necessary. I don't know how to turn that option off. Okay. Your grade book, that will give you everything else that you need. And then, of course, you have your textbooks and other video information, I believe, is somewhere here as well. Okay. So that was essentially a very quick overview on how to use ALEKS. If you have any questions, please let me know. If I think of anything else that I didn't cover in this video, I will just make a note of it. But I think I got everything covered. The only other thing I want to say about it is, like I said before, you cannot move on to the next lesson or the next homework or the next unit until you've completed the current unit. Then it'll open up the next unit. If you don't complete the homework for that unit, you're going to have to wait until the due date of that unit before you get access to the second or the very next unit assignments. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's essentially work at your own pace. So if you feel confident that you're ready for the next topics, finish the current one, then it'll open up the next one. All right. Let me know if you have any other questions.